Greetings, Reelers. My name is Philip, and together with my wife Sherry and two of our friends, Chris and James, we're Fellowship of the Reel. Four people who love talking about movies almost as much as we do watching them. We hope you will join us as we dig deep into cinematic masterpieces and some that are, well, maybe not. You have an opportunity to be the fifth host of our little show. Click the link in the show notes and leave us a voice message telling us what movie you would like us to review. You can also reach out on our Facebook page, Fellowship of the Reel. From all of us at Fellowship of the Reel, thanks for listening. Okay, on with the show. At this point in the movie, I'm like, okay, well, here's what you should have done. And I'm thinking...
Yeah, right. It's one of my favorite openings ever.
And I've watched that alternate ending, and it is garbage.
It doesn't go where you think it's going to go.
There's a monster. I'm ready for it to be over.
Well,
But I'm not sure I can even fully explain why I love this movie so much.
I had some issues with this scene.
My feelings on it have not changed.
I fell asleep until the screaming. This is actually where I started enjoying the movie.
This is one of my favorite scenes in all of cinema.
I thought that should have been cut completely.
Why?
Well, I'm sure it's artistic and you just don't get it. Here we are, Fellowship of the Reel, four friends, and a movie. This time, we are continuing on. This time we're going to do We Own the Night. And this was Chris's pick?
Yes.
Yes. A Joaquin Phoenix. A lot of big stars in this. I consider it a Joaquin Phoenix movie. I pretty much love everything he does. And we're going to get into that. We want to continue with our little Sherry-induced competition here. She has come up with the idea of testing our movie knowledge. So 3 or 4 questions of whose line it is it anyway. We can't use that title.
Well,
Walk the line. We can't use that, I don't guess.
No, I'm just blown away by how much all 3 of y'all know about movies.
We could
So-
Well, I don't have a life, so that's my reason.
And just so I'm putting y'all to the test.
we could call it Who Said This Shit?
Who the fuck said that? You know,
Yeah,
whatever.
there you go.
Whatever. Okay, so when we get a title for this will be a lot more slick. But for now, here is Sherry's trivia time. I don't know. All right, Sherry.
Okay. Now, this one has a word in it that I'm not going to say. So, but I'm going to quote it as best I can. I'm just going to substitute a word.
Remind us of the rules again, real quick. Are we naming actors, naming the movie? What are we?
Just
Remind me.
Yeah,
if you can name the movie
Okay.
or the actor or the character name,
All of it works.
yeah,
it-
just
all of it
As long
works.
as you're right, all of it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you think this line came from?
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, this is one that that I just thought was so funny, and I don't know if y'all have seen the movie, but here it goes. And like I said, there is a word that I'm not going to say. I'm going to substitute the word fudge, if you can guess what I was not saying.
Christmas Story.
Huh?
A Christmas Story.
Oh, no. But
Oh, fudge.
yeah. Well, okay, that works, but no, that's not it. All right, here it is. It's like my mama always said.
Forrest Gump.
No. No, but good guess. It's like my mama always said, 2 tears in a bucket, mother fudge it.
Oh, that's Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. That's You want to see my candy?
Yes, it's the Lady Chablis.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I haven't seen that movie in decades.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
I've never seen it.
you've
never seen it?
it?
Oh my
No,
God, you got to see Good and Evil. That's-
Apparently, yeah. I knew
John
I
Cusack.
was missing out.
Yeah,
and
my-
Spacey too, right? And
Yeah, my
Yeah.
girlfriend watched that while I was at work one day, thankfully. So she
You're
loved
not
it.
interested in that movie?
I don't know.
Yeah, it
Maybe
is.
I would be.
It's directed by Clint Eastwood. It's
Nice. Okay.
it takes place in Savannah.
it's a true story. I don't know how.
It has a lot of the same people of Savannah. I mean, it fits the way life is.
Yeah.
there.
A lot of the characters are based on real people who lived there.
I've been to Savannah once. We stayed with a doctor and his wife. The man who was a doctor rode around with a skeleton as his passenger in his car. So there are some quirky people.
Eccentric characters that
Yes.
they put into the movie.
There's really people.
Like that.
It's
Like
a
that.
weird little anyway, but it's a good movie. It's got a twist in it. It's good. It's John Cusack is real good. Not a comedy, but
Clint Eastwood directed, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right, the next one. and this one y'all probably will know, but there's two people speaking this. One character, then another, and then the character answers. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Anyway, he says, "I'm merely a humble butler. What exactly do you do?" "I buttle, sir."
I think I know it. Does anybody else? Is that Mr. Deeds?
No.
No. Oh, I know it. You want to take it's Clue. It's Clue.
It's Clue.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's one of my favorite lines when he says, "I buttle, sir."
Yeah.
I've seen that movie half a bajillion times. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the butler's
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Yes.
Yes, the legendary Tim Curry.
And see, if I said it with an accent, maybe you would've
No.
got it. Yeah. He says, "I buttle, sir."
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
I love this. Full of so many gags in that movie. I like the whole "did I step in dog shit" gag when they're coming in. Everybody's checking their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I like the movie.
That's a comfort movie. I'll put that on just to chill.
I like that it has so many different endings, just like the game. It's like the game could go. And apparently, I'm not sure in the theaters, did they only have one ending in certain places? And
I don't know.
Yeah, they did different endings in different locations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The only reason that movie took off and became a big cult hit as it was is because it was so inexpensive on VHS.
Is that right?
Yeah, all the VHSs were back in the day when they were first released, $80, $100 or whatever. And
Yeah.
Clue
Oh, yeah.
was $5.
So if
So
you
all
saw
the
it,
families bought Clue because that's what they could afford.
Yeah.
so if you saw it in theater, right, and you got ending A, and then you bought the VHS, were all the endings on the
I think
VHS?
so, yeah.
All the
You
endings.
didn't get just A, and then had to go try to find a different
no,
one
right.
to get B or whatever.
Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Because they
put
got
all-
that's how it went, or this how it could have gone, or something.
Nice.
Yes.
I wonder how many
I love-
arguments that started. That's not how Clue ended. Were you nuts?
That's true.
Did you see the movie?
That's true.
That's really cool.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
And then the last one is a very famous line that apparently is misquoted quite a bit. But the true line is, "Why don't you come up sometime and see me?"
Was this movie in the 21st century or the 20th century?
20th. It's a very old movie.
Yeah, I know.
Why don't you come up sometime and see me?
Best little whorehouse.
Most
in Texas.
people, no, but it's close. Most people say, "Why don't you come up and see me sometime?" But it's actually, "Why don't you come up sometime and see me?" I have not seen the movie. I didn't know the name of the movie. I had to look it up. But the character is Mae West, and it's a very old movie. She done him wrong.
That's the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I never in a million.
See, I know, but it is a very. Have you never heard anyone say,
No.
"Why don't you come up and see me sometime?"
Not since the 1940s. No.
Oh well, I heard Tom Selleck say it on Magnum. I think it was.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've heard people say that. I didn't. I
It's-
guess I
it's
didn't
Mae
realize
West,
because
yes.
to James' point, I didn't realize it was a movie quote
That's
because
a
it
deep.
was,
That's a deep track.
I told you it's a very old.
I don't know that I've
very-
never seen it. That's
she got tired of us
I've
getting
never
them all right, so she decided to test us, and we failed.
Mel.
I've never seen the movie. I had to look it up.
I think that
asked.
was a fixed game
What?
right there.
I did ask my
I
mother,
feel like that was.
and she did know it was Mae West.
From this movie in 1994, the character says, "What?"
Oh, I've got one like that I absolutely love, but no, I haven't.
What? I don't know.
In what movie did the character say the? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's that
No,
was,
now wait a minute. Now the Clue one, I buttle. That isn't a meme. There is
good one.
a meme that goes around. So
I mean, that's kind of a deep track, but still, I think.
You got us. You were tired of us
Yeah.
getting them, and you got us.
Right.
and like I said, that
Sore losers crying about.
well, I
no.
told you that it may be something that's quoted all the time, or it may be
No,
something
no.
that's deep in the movie that maybe.
Yeah. No. They can't all be Big Lebowski quotes, right? So.
Oh my gosh, no.
All right. Okay. So, well, I'm surprised that you haven't seen Midnight in the Garden. I would have thought you'd been all over that, and yeah, Clue is a comfort.
Yeah, nothing against it, just haven't seen
No,
it.
I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's a John Cusack movie, The Midnight.
Yes, John Cusack plays he's the reporter going down there to do a architectural story or something, on the architect and the party.
The party.
Yeah,
It's a big Christmas party.
yeah. The Savannah Christmas party is a big deal, social scene. So he's going down there to write about it, and then
And then it ends up being a murder mystery.
yeah, gets enmeshed in a local murder or whatever. Anyway.
I'm sure my girlfriend would love it if I watched that movie with her.
Well, then maybe
I think it's good. I mean, I think you would enjoy it. It's not, yeah.
I like Clint Eastwood movies. I don't really like John Cusack all that much, and that's just a personal thing. I don't know why. He's good in stuff I've seen him in.
Yeah.
Phil
was
just
good.
died a little bit.
Yeah, no,
He was good in Love and Mercy. Have you seen that one? The Brian, oh good lord, the Beach Boys.
Brian Wilson?
Brian Wilson, where he plays an older Brian
I
Wilson.
didn't
He is
see that.
fantastic in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was on a series on Prime that they canceled after one season, which I was very upset about. Anyway.
You're going to kill me, James, but I liked him in Con Air.
Oh yeah, he was
Yeah,
good in
He's
that.
fun in that.
But he wasn't the only one in that made
No,
that.
no, no, no.
fun.
Yeah, right. Not at all. But he was
But like
good in that.
Gross Point Blank,
Yeah, that's good.
and I just never got into him for
Okay.
whatever. High Fidelity.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Identity is
Ooh,
good.
is she in a coma?
Did you say Better Off Dead?
Better off. He's
Yeah.
young in that one, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good because that had Dan Aykroyd in it and stuff. Like it was fun just for some reason. Me and
Yeah.
John Cusack,
Didn't mesh.
I don't know.
Well, we may be the same age. I grew up on John Cusack. He was,
Yeah, I think we are.
anyway.
Cool.
All right, so we own the night, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very interested, not only in just why, but like I had high expectations for this movie going in. I know nothing about it. Never
Yeah.
seen it. So why would you pick this movie?
Oh, I don't know. I really, really like it. It's I guess it's a movie that I've watched and kind of like analyzed myself. And not necessarily like I hadn't gone through the whole thing like with Catboy's beats. Sorry. Once again, Blake Snyder, Save the Cat is what we call Catboy.
Yeah.
And his 15-story beats. And I knew, like, I guess I really liked his opening and closing images, Joaquin Phoenix's character. So I knew those were
I
strong.
really like
think-
that opening image.
Yeah, they're very solid, I think.
Of course, the opening image is lots of fun. But
Yeah, what's
Eva Mendes.
yeah. I just should pause it on her legs at all times.
Fell out.
Sorry, mute Sherry's mic.
So I guess I thought it would be a fun movie to talk about once we had started this podcast. It was kind of got me thinking. You'd last time you'd shared that you had a list of movies, and I had like a mental list, but didn't really write anything down. So I started writing them down, and my list it's not done, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy long. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Mine
and so I
keeps
got to
growing.
try to. And what's cool is we have some of the same movies on list. So like I tried to remember anything because I saw your list last time. I'm like, all right, well James already got them. Let me not put those down. Let me put different ones. But yeah, anyhow, I thought it'd be a fun movie to discuss. And then I guess like I'd said, since you were doing The Mummy, so this really fun, lighthearted, adventure film, I thought, well, let me do something more dark and gritty. And I thought We Own the Night, but it could have easily have been in something else.
Sure.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into Money Creeks fans, and we'll kick this thing off. All right, Money Creeks fans. Does anybody else have the notes? I got the notes here. I could go through them unless you.
Go for it. I got the IMDb pulled up.
Okay. I'll just read the synopsis real quick. I got this off Rotten Tomatoes as well. In 1988, New York's police wage an all-out war on drugs, and guilty and innocent alike become casualties. Bobby Green, Joaquin Phoenix, manager of a nightclub that is often frequented by gangsters, tries to remain neutral but hides a potentially fatal secret. His brother, Mark Wahlberg, and father, Robert Duvall, are both cops. After his brother is wounded in an assassination attempt, Bobby can no longer remain neutral. He joins forces with his brother for an all-out assault on the mob. I think it's the Russian mob. It's not necessarily the Italian mob, but
Right.
that'll work. I had seen this movie a long time ago and remember liking it, but I also remember thinking, yeah, it was pretty good, and then not ever thinking about it again. Like it's not a movie that I watched and said, oh, I got to have that, because I thought I did have it, but I didn't. And so I remember liking it, but I guess moving on and not really liking it enough to say, oh, I got to have that. So we got a copy, and I did, and watching it again, I do like this movie. I think it's in the same vein as, it's a gritty crime drama, and there are several movies like that in that genre, and it's a dark, gritty crime drama, yeah. So I was a little surprised at some of the ratings on this. They're not as high as I would have liked. So the tomato meter, and again, this is a little unfair because some of these movies, as we've always stated, were not around when tomato meter was. I don't know if this was or not, but
This was 07. That's
yeah,
I think
2007. So yeah, I think it was around.
Rotten Tomatoes was definitely a thing.
okay. So 57% of the critics gave it 3.5 stars or above. So kind of a lukewarm reception there. Fans did a little better with 61% giving it 3.5 stars or above, but I think that is low. I don't normally print any of the reviews out. This was a one-line review, sort of a summation of all the critics by Rotten Tomatoes. An average review: bland characters, cliche dialogue, and rickety plotting ensure We Own the Night never lives up to its potential. And I think that's unfair.
Yeah, I don't guess I agree with any of that.
Yeah, I don't think the plotting is rickety. I was able to nail down beats. I don't think the characters were bland necessarily. I mean, they're bad guys and good guys, but
Yeah, but I don't know if I was maybe in a weird mindset last night when I watched this movie, but I felt for Joaquin Phoenix's character the entire time. I don't think, I mean, and we'll get to this as it goes, but I think that the story's a little wonky. I think he had a good life going on. He wasn't entrenched in this drug trade crime thing. This character was
no.
He was trying to live his best life, and then he's thrown into all this, and then it's all about family, I guess, and duty, and that didn't land with me on where he went.
I think
it just I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think there's a pretty solid theme stated. Whether it happens right at 5 minutes, I don't think so, but I think there's a pretty solid theme stated, and I think that is what Joaquin Phoenix is trying to do, and we'll get to that when we get to the theme, but he is trying to walk the line, because he says, I don't deal drugs, I'm not a dealer.
What does this have to do with me?
What does this got to do with me? But he enjoys the fringes of that lifestyle around which these drug dealers are acting, because he does drugs, he parties, and we'll get into all this in the setup, but he is skating right up to the edge of the shark pool, and I think
I think what I was trying to say before is you were saying he was skating right up to the edge of the shark pool. I don't think the stakes were. I didn't feel how high stakes that could have been. Like, that could have been a lot more dirty and gritty, and you could have seen him maybe involved more in the crime, because it didn't seem like he was involved in the crime at all. He was just running this club. He was being successful. He was gonna be promoted to another club.
yes.
And then he gets, you got to help us. And now all of a sudden he's being treated as a expert drug dealer and an expert criminal. And he's not.
He is overseeing the arena in which these players are doing their stuff, and sees these transactions. Yeah, and
he's sitting down with the family, has like relation, like carrying the bad guy, Murad or whatever, carrying his daughter around, playing with her and stuff, and getting fed, trying the wife's pie out or whatever it was, like I see what you're saying. Yeah, he didn't deal in drugs, but like he was basically one of their family without even, he's very almost like naive and oblivious to what's going on. Like he looks the other way a lot. Like it just, like not, cause like you said, trying to have fun, live his life. And yeah, like I think he said several times, I didn't know this was going to happen. I had no idea someone was going to get hurt. Like he was just
thought he
ignored all the warnings. So they try to, and we'll get into this, but they try to tell him, you got to pick a side at one point.
Yeah,
and he's like, that's dumb.
But
From what I've
seen, the first interaction with his family, Robert Duvall and Mark Wahlberg, they're just shitting all over him.
Sure.
And then you see his other family, the crime, quote unquote crime family, and they're treating him like the most favorite son in the world.
Right.
I get that pull, but it didn't seem like this. I don't know. It seemed like the cops came in and ruined his life. Like his fiance left him, the family that cared for him left him, and now he's going to this abusive other family that's calling him a shithead.
And I think like if you guys, I'm sure you probably have nailed the theme where I have where you have. Hopefully, I got it right. I think the theme stated is going to shed a lot of light on his position early on. Anyway, we'll get into that, because I'm actually pretty excited now, because that's a lot of good issues there. That was critics and fans. I guess this is reflected in the box office. So the budget was $21 million, I'm showing, and the domestic box office total was $28 million, and the international was 26 for $55 million worldwide, which is not great. It almost doubled its money, just shy of doubling its money, but that probably means, like James had said earlier, everybody got paid, including the marketers, because if you double the budget.
Yeah, it's probably breaking even. It
Yeah,
wasn't
so-
a great success.
Yeah, so everybody got paid, but it didn't put any money in anybody's bank after all the bills were paid. And I'm sympathetic to that because, like I said, the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, it's a good movie, and then I just moved on and never thought about it again. It didn't like wow me. But the second time, I watched it twice, so 3 times now, and I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I think it's a good movie.
Yeah, I have a note real quick just on the box office. I don't feel like we talk about this a whole lot.
Yeah.
We normally just talk about, I guess, theatrical runs.
Yeah.
But it says by June 2017, so 10 years, I guess, which
Yeah.
is a long time, but 10 years. By June 2017, the film had totaled 22 million in DVD sales
Yeah.
and 32 million in DVD rentals.
Yeah. So,
So there's another 54 million just after the
yeah, so that's basically 100 million over its life on a 20 million, which would be considered pretty good.
yeah.
And I wonder how much that is factored in now, because now that's probably even more as far as rentals, and I mean, not necessarily DVD rentals, but rentals and
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in a way, even
Downloads.
like because like
yeah,
Downloads.
downloads. Yeah.
downloads, yeah, like a lot of movies that come out in theater, you can either you can pay like $20 to rent them now.
Oh, yeah,
and that's
yeah.
$20. Not back then that was a $5 rental or a $3 rental or something.
Oh yeah, I remember being shocked when they jumped to like $8 rentals at
Yeah.
Blockbuster.
I'm just curious, real quick. So the director of this movie, the director-writer, James Gray, have any of y'all seen any of his other stuff?
I don't know
I
what
feel
else.
like I've seen Little Odessa, but I don't remember it a lot. And then I never saw The Yards, which is apparently has Joaquin Phoenix and Mark Wahlberg in it.
I haven't seen that one either.
I remember,
2000.
yeah,
Little Odessa was like the one that broke out in 94.
that's Tim Roth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of
I
them.
haven't seen any of them. And then lately, The Lost City of Z and Ad Astra.
No.
So
That's the Brad Pitt one where he goes to
Yeah.
space.
Oh,
So it's kind of like
Yeah,
I haven't seen any of the other ones. This is my first one. I was just curious. if
yeah.
y'all
No,
seen
I
it.
hadn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So that's Money Critics fans. Anything else we want to talk about there? I think we got it. Yeah, I would like to see those numbers a little higher. I think it was deserving, but rentals and stuff. I think as people learned about this movie, they rewarded it, but with their viewership or whatever.
I'm just curious. Was this movie supposed to be a different kind of movie? Like, was it edited weirdly? Did anybody?
I didn't
feel
read
that?
any notes about that because it's written and directed by the same guy. So
Yeah,
sounds
it
like he
just-
probably, as far as I know, able to tell the story he wanted to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just in places it seemed like it was
Well,
edited weird and
Yeah.
could have been done different way. There was a scene I think when they're fighting, when the brothers are fighting and Mark Wahlberg gets thrown into the guy in the chair. That is the worst take I've ever seen in any Mark Wahlberg movie. You see him looking back to judge where he's going to land and then make sure the guy's okay. I was like, you guys couldn't have done like one more take of that. So there's like little spots. Where I'm like,
Well,
maybe
Did
they
you notice that how many times did you watch it this time?
just once.
Damn, you noticed it the first time? 'Cause I've seen the movie multiple times. And I've never seen that.
Yeah,
Like,
he's-
I don't know that I noticed.
And I clearly remember the scene where he falls into the scene you're talking about, but I didn't catch.
Yeah, he's looking.
Didn't
back
catch
at the guy
Wahlberg,
and-
blocking it out, looking. Okay, I'm gonna land over here, so I don't get
and
hurt.
I blame the editor filmographer more for that. It's like because that's not the actor's responsibility. You get the shot, but
No, sure. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, was there a time crunch? Did they have to do reshoots?
I don't know,
Like, was it edited together? Because it seems like one of those movies, and I could be totally wrong, that it was written and filmed as one movie, and then the stuff came back, and they're like, no, we need to change it up.
I don't
so
know.
add this. Because Robert Duvall feels very hot and cold. That's my main thing is
Yeah.
Robert Duvall goes from you're a piece of shit, I hate you, to I'm gonna look out for you, and then you're a piece of shit, get out of here.
yeah.
What?
Well,
No, I mean, I'm with you on the back to the fight scene. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, how many takes did they do? Because like, if they only did the one, then that's the coverage you got. You got to fucking use
Yeah,
it.
sure.
But if they did multiple ones, then yeah, come on, editor, like pay attention
Yeah,
and cut out the bit when you see Wahlberg going,
well,
I'm gonna land over here. So I don't
Continuity
get hurt.
errors
they're unavoidable.
unavoidable, and
But-
Yeah.
now Sherry noticed. I noticed it when I watched, and Sherry immediately picked up on it. Either the boom operator had really short arms, but everybody mumbled in this movie. I found it difficult to hear lines. I mean, I had
never noticed that before, but when I watched it Yeah, I
Yeah.
had the same thing. I thought maybe it was just
Subtitles.
me. I was like, can I?
I literally had my
hear
soundbar
this
cranked
thing.
up to 70, and it wasn't that loud.
Yeah. I was afraid to go higher because Stacy was asleep, but I
Because
was.
if that goes off in a commercial, when I turn it
struggling.
off and I put the television on and forget, it's going to blow my ears out. And
James, you did subtitles.
I did subtitles.
I
always
was this close to
should've.
doing it
Yeah,
just so
we
I
should've.
could hear everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
because like
Because I think I missed half the movie because I couldn't understand it.
the visuals were strong enough that I think you could track it, but the dialogue was very.
Well, I don't know how you heard it whenever every other line was, what did he say?
Right.
I said that to him. What did
Well,
he
I
say?
had so the first time I watched it on regular volume, and I didn't catch that exchange between Wahlberg and Phoenix at the very end when they're sitting on stage.
Oh, the I love you bit.
Yeah, so this time I did. I love you very much. I love you too. Which I thought, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, is the I love you part of this commencement speech? Like, he's like, blah, 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 I love you, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, when they're
Did he
sitting,
say
they're
that?
sitting together and they sort of.
And I couldn't see them, I couldn't hear them say it to each other, so I just saw the subtitles of
Oh,
the guy
yeah.
talking, and then I love
Oh.
you. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
weird.
Anyway, all right, we'll get into some of this. I think.
James, like the guy up on stage is professing his love.
Right,
For,
that's exactly what I thought.
All right,
I love you, New York City.
I love this town. What movie? Ghostbusters. Okay. All right,
Ghostbusters, Ernie Hudson.
there you go. All right,
that
let's.
was a Mae West film.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson playing Mae West, Ghostbusters. Yeah. Hello, boys. Anyway,
I'm gonna culturally enrich you guys. I'm telling you.
okay, a movie you haven't seen either, though.
No, I haven't seen that movie, but
I feel enriched already.
Yeah, sure.
hey, but we learned something that is misquoted all the time.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. All right. Are we ready for the beats? Yeah. Ready for the beats. Okay, so I was very pleased with the opening and closing images on this. I noticed it the first time I saw it, and then the second time I saw it, I was like, yeah, absolutely, that's what they're doing. And we'll get to that in a little bit as we get to it. All right, I'll start off, and we can see whether we all agree on this. Now, this is something that, because that Chris sort of brought me down on, because previously in some movies that we reviewed, I considered the opening image to be several scenes or several minutes into the film, and that's strictly speaking not accurate. And so now, as Chris rightly said, I look at the scene, the image, not a series of images. What is the first time you see this guy? What is his opening state, right? And so limiting myself to one opening image. Okay, well, all right, before we get to that, there are opening images, almost not necessarily a prologue, but there are these static images of what I'm calling workaday cops in black and white, gritty, scenes of violence, drugs, grit, and crime. Cops working, as blue-collar, pluggers, solving crimes and fighting bad guys who are themselves grungy and gritty. Series of these images.
Sorry, you were maybe about
Well,
to say.
there's and then the final image is the street unit's logo on their patch that says, New York City Police Street Unit, we own the night. And I guess that's where they get the title
Right.
from.
Yeah, just because the images, I mean, just I guess so people haven't seen this movie or so it's clear, like these are real images from real life.
Oh,
It's
they're
not
real.
for the movie.
Yeah, because I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, are
It's
these
not for the movie. This is like based off a real thing.
okay? So those are actual police officers.
What?
Probably in the
You
70s.
mean
and
what I was asking you about? I was asking, is that real?
Yeah, those black
The
and white
real,
images.
Black-
Yeah.
Yeah, real photos or.
Yeah. Being a
And do you think it's from the 70s? Because
The photos look 70s. The movie
Yeah.
takes place in the 80s, but the photos look 70s to me.
Yeah, it's-
well, that's
very
what
much.
I asked. Yeah,
And I was about to being a New York cop. Well, being a cop anywhere at that time, but being a New York cop in the 70s, because I think Son of Sam was going to be around at that point. I mean, just the New York was not the. I mean, New York is New York, but New York in the 70s
Right.
was like Judge Dredd, man, or almost.
Sure.
It was.
And then they had like the brown out and the blackouts, and I can't
Sure.
imagine. No,
Yeah, so I think this is intentional. This workaday cop image, because that is very much, I think, what Bobby's family, Mark Wahlberg and that whole thing. I think that is very much the image that these cops are. They're pluggers, workaday, fighters of crime who themselves are soiled, but not corrupt. But to get, they are in the muck fighting all this stuff. I thought it was pretty powerful to set up sort of the stance of where these cops were. Now, then we get into what I call Bobby's opening image. We'll talk about this at the end, or we can talk about it now, it doesn't matter. But Bobby, the first time you see him, he's in a really red shirt. I'm calling him a worker in his own right because he's making out with his girlfriend, but is immediately called away to perform some duty. So I almost want to say that as workaday as these cops are, so is Bobby, but just in his own environment.
Sure.
Because he is, I don't think he ever got to make out with his girlfriend in the whole movie, because the other time that he started making out with his girlfriend, he was called, he went away to attend to a party. It was almost his choice at that point, but.
Yeah, but I feel like that. I mean, it's very intentional.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 scenes of him making out with his girlfriend, and what was it? Jumbo is calling him, constantly pulling him away from
yes.
that. Yeah. Just another thing I noticed about this beginning is he's, a lot of his, I guess, being oblivious or ignoring what's going on around him.
Yeah.
Even in this, like his best at this point, the best thing about his life is his girlfriend.
Yes.
So he enjoys being the club owner and all that stuff, but like he's ignoring his duties as a club owner to spend time with his girlfriend. Like
almost
ignoring stuff is a constant, I guess, thing with him until he can't ignore stuff anymore.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He's called away for duty as the day-to-day manager of the El Caribe, and we learn that he has a boss of his own. So I think his opening image is contrasted with the opening images of the cop and also the setup we're going to get of his family. He may be on the other side of what the cops are, but his work ethic is as strong, every bit as strong as, I think, and the demands placed upon him almost probably every bit as strong as the cops, in what they're doing. So I guess that by default that has to be the opening image. Was that what y'all?
That's what I have.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. My opening image was definitely Eva Mendes on the couch.
Yes.
That was surprisingly cool. Like I watched, I was like, damn, that's a good woman.
So
I had a different reaction.
what was your reaction, Sherry?
God, that's perverted.
Oh, whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's
Well, I mean,
healthy, loving couple
Yeah.
expressing their.
No, I'm like, I don't need to see that.
in some mighty fine.
Well, she felt that, fun fact, Eva Mendes, I don't remember if it was her mom or her grandma, she felt that they shouldn't see that either, so she told them to come 5 minutes late to the premiere.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Makes
good.
sense.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. Now, I don't know. I wrote this down. I don't know. It does. I don't think it comes right after this opening image. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think it's stated later, but I'm putting it here after the opening image just as a way of the outline. At some point in the movie, and it's after we get into some things, because I don't think you get a theme stated right away, Robert Duvall's character, the father, this is what I'm calling the theme stated. And it's almost a twofold thing, but I'm nailing this sentence down as the theme stated. He says, you can only piss yourself and stay warm for so long. Okay, and then
You can only what?
piss yourself
Oh, I thought you said fish.
piss yourself for so long and stay warm. Later, within that same scene, when encouraged to take a certain action, Robert Duvall has a code. He says, we don't play in the dirt, not ever. So I think those two things are basically two ways of saying the same thing. Now, what I take from that, and then you guys could tell me if that's what you think the theme is, and if not. So what I'm saying, the lifestyle of gratification and excess will not fulfill you over the course of a life, is what I'm sort of boiling that down to. Because I think that's what Bobby is doing. He is in a life that is keeping him warm, that is gratifying, that he enjoys, that he loves, that he doesn't want to be pulled out of or have endangered.
Right.
But from a thematic standpoint, that's only going to keep him warm and fulfilled for so long. And that's really what he is told almost several times.
Right. Yeah, and he may not be a drug dealer, but he's playing in the dirt. Yep.
Yeah, and playing in the dirt, and what he's doing is only going to keep him, quote unquote, warm for so long. Yes.
And I guess I feel like Wahlberg and the dad know that, right? They know that's why they treat him like shit at the beginning, because they, I guess they see the truth that he doesn't, right? He's still believing the lie.
Yeah. Yes. And I think I want to think that they didn't turn him out immediately, but as he distanced himself from them and they realized what he was doing, it was such an affront to their moral code of cops, because Wahlberg will say, when we get to the catalyst, what I'm going to call the catalyst in a second, it's a war out there, and you got to pick a side. And
Right.
and he's like, don't you have any responsibility? And, no, I don't.
Right.
He doesn't even apologize for that. I thought
Let me think about it. No.
no, which I thought was slick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so is that what y'all had for the theme, or do you have a different idea about?
Yeah, I guess I don't think I nailed it down as well as you did, because I had in the same scene you're kind of talking about where they pull him aside, like the Robert Duvall tells him sooner or later you got to pick a side.
Yes.
Either you're going to be with us or you're going to be with the drug dealers, and like that's the only because it's about the right time for the
Yeah.
theme. And I felt like I was like, all right. I mean, that could be kind of a call to adventure as well, right? And a catalyst, but I mean, that's essentially what if you boil it all the way down, that's what the movie's about, right?
Yes.
It's him picking picking a side, but.
Yes.
But yeah, as far as thematically, yeah, the playing in the dirt and pissing yourself are much better.
Yeah.
And they are way later, but
Yes, it happens way later. Now, that's a unique image, pissing yourself to stay warm.
yeah,
I mean, because if you ask Bobby, are you pissing yourself? No, I'm not pissed. I have a job, Pop,
right.
I'm not pissing myself. I have a job, And being a nightclub manager is not a bad job, except if your nightclub is the arena for all kinds of vice and,
Right.
So the fact that Duvall, that his father characterizes what he's doing as pissing himself,
Right.
shows a definite perspective about the characterization of what he's doing, because Bobby wouldn't think that.
Right. And then you had talked about I guess when you were defining it about living in excess.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, what came to mind is when Robert Duvall makes a comment to Joaquin Phoenix's character about how much that earring set you back.
Yes.
What'd you say, Pop? You heard what I said.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Yes. Yeah.
Because I guess on the surface, I just took it as it's a dude wearing an earring, and Robert Duvall's old school and doesn't
Sure.
go with that kind of thing. But I think there's more to it. Than
No,
that. I think
absolutely. Yeah. There's, yeah.
Because it was a diamond earring or something, right?
I'm sure it was,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was expensive.
See, I
Would
would
they
have
make comment about a suit too, right? In the same scene about
Yeah.
that's a nice suit.
I
He's
would
like,
have
you got
liked
jokes.
to seen Joaquin Phoenix maybe in the muck a little bit deeper, because up until then, the only drugs you see him do is he smokes a joint and then he's running a club. I would have liked to seen him maybe playing with that lifestyle a little bit more and know how more dangerous it is, because it didn't seem like the stakes were too high, especially when Robert Duvall comes at him and is like, how much was that earring? That's a nice suit you're wearing. It's like, well, yeah, he's successful running a nightclub. I would have liked to have been like, no, he's flirting with disaster. He's flirting with
Yeah.
drugs. He's already, and maybe Eva Mendes, like they could have been doing more than just smoking a joint, like they're doing lines or she's into heroin or something.
Sure.
But it didn't, the stakes weren't as high for me as I think they were supposed to be.
I see what you're saying, but I think if they had done that, it would shift the scales like too much. I think what they wanted is for you to, you kind of said earlier, they wanted you to sympathize with him and
Yeah.
go, no, he's just doing his thing. And then they're the shitheads that come in and fuck up his life, right? If they show how dangerous it is or make her, starting to become a heroin addict, then you automatically you catch on very early that he's doing the wrong thing.
Gotcha.
Right. Where if you don't show that and you show it, because I mean, just the contrast of the parties, that club is fucking happening. What was he doing with his girlfriend? This perverted stuff, as Sherry said right at the beginning. He's having a hell of a good time.
He's,
And then they go to the award ceremony for his dad. And I don't think there's any alcohol. It's a family event.
Well,
People
yeah.
standing around. They show the one lady dancing terribly.
Sure.
And the food is fucking, Susie's casserole. Like it's some bullshit.
Eggs.
there
This
was
is
a
not
definite,
fun. Yeah.
a definite
The setups
matchup.
was
Well, he had
awesome.
said
The two parties were
he had
definitely-
said when they're in the car and they're smoking the joint.
And he's smoking the joint right outside where all the police
Yeah,
are.
he says
though.
why they're drunk anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
they're all fucking drunk.
so
yeah.
maybe the cops are drunk, and that's what I was thinking is, oh, the cops are just as bad as the drug dealers. Like that's
Yeah.
what I was expecting to happen. Was the cops are still the bad guys, but I guess like you were saying, that's the way it was supposed. That was the way it was presented. Is
That's
the
the
way
way I
that
took it. Is it?
yeah.
You want to, he's having a good time. Like
Yeah,
he's not
and-
doing anything wrong. 'Cause
I
if you
thought-
show too much of him, if you show the danger or her, like I said, her becoming a heroin addict or him getting his hands dirtier, then it's hard. I think it's hard not to say, well, all right, he is a bad guy.
Well, maybe that I saw it right, because I see Joaquin Phoenix is just a guy doing his job with a loving girlfriend and a loving adoptive family, and then maybe that's what was presented to me, right? And
Right.
then you have this careless cop family coming in to crash in on all his stuff.
Yes, but
So would you say this is a dude with a problem?
Well,
I don't
that-
think we covered that.
yeah, we did.
No,
we
didn't.
didn't.
I think it's rite of passage.
Ooh.
See, I didn't. I was thinking Do the Problem or Buddy Love, but Rite of Passage sounds about right now that you mention it.
So I watched the movie correct. Maybe my opinions are wrong.
Well, the question is,
No
okay,
wrong opinions here.
all right. So the question is, how much are you willing to look the other way to enjoy your life, right? So none of us have jobs where we have to tolerate such behavior to ensure our. But I guarantee there are things we could probably point to that say you have to put up with that because.
Right.
And so he has to watch and associate with people that he knows are cutting off people's heads and putting their dicks in their mouth, right? Later on.
Right.
Maybe it was your dick. Maybe it was your mouth.
Right. No, there's there's a couple of, anyway. So, and so you're not doing it, but you permit it to happen and you benefit from what those people bring to the table who are doing those things.
Right.
Yeah.
You're pissing yourself at that point. Like,
Yeah, because they're always the cops, and so his family is always on watch, always on guard. They're the ones protecting everybody so that you can enjoy their life. That's why they're these soulless guys or whatever, because they're always on watch.
you need me on that wall, you know.
You can, exactly.
Anyway.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so now moving into the setup, I have the boss. His boss is more like a father to him than perhaps his own father. He certainly is more affectionate and loving to this boss guy who he does not yet know about necessarily in terms of some of the things we're going to find out. I have the contrast of the two crowd scenes. One is family honor, pride. The other sex, debauchery, and gratification. Bobby is fully enmeshed in his own world and loves it. Joe equally so in his. Two brothers, two sides of the law. As much as Bobby enjoys his life, Joe is enmeshed in the life of being a soldier on the street for New York, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just don't thought about it though. Like we talk about how serious they are and these almost like soulless guys or whatever. Like, what's the first thing we see Wahlberg doing? He's cutting up, playing around, shadow boxing with the other guy or whatever,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wonder if that had to have been intentional because they know he's got all these hard scenes later on where he doesn't show much affection and he's mad and grumpy and pissed off all the time. So
Well,
and he even brings his kid over for the photo. Like, I mean,
so yes,
sees a family man, right?
like Bobby has Jumbo, and Wahlberg has his
Whoever that guy was,
whoever that guy is, but his cop brothers.
his family, yeah.
So Wahlberg has surrogate brothers, and Bobby has surrogate father and brother. Jumbo is as close to him as his brother.
Yeah.
So they've chosen surrogate families in the absence of each other for now.
Yeah, it's interesting how he's estranged from them, but he not enough to not show up for this thing
Well,
for 5 minutes,
Right, and there is a subtle scene because James was talking about Duvall's character being sort of hot and cold. Some of that is true, but I think there's a very subtle scene that sort of underlies what is going on emotionally with his family. So in The Catalyst, Joe with their father come to Bobby and ask him to inform on the nephew of Bobby's boss, a major player in the importation and distribution of drugs. Bobby refuses the call at this point, right? I got a job. They're not my problems. You're the cops. Why do you need me?
I want you to do something.
Why don't you do something? So he is refusing this call, this catalyst, right? And he gets up to go, and he steps over the pew, okay? And his father knows he's high and sort of maybe unsteady or whatever. But as he's stepping over that pew, Robert Duvall reaches out to steady him, or to he said he almost, I don't know if he says it. I don't think he says it, be careful or whatever. But he's climbing over that pew, and Robert Duvall reaches out his hand to almost steady him. So in all
I missed that.
Yeah, in all this angst, there is still love between these guys, and I think especially, and praises to Joaquin for selling it because I thought he sold it. When he sits down with Vadim later in the diner, and Vadim is bragging about, "Oh, don't worry about the cops. A cop was hit today. Wink, wink. We did that." And the old man, he's taking over, and we're going to get him too. And Joaquin's, you could say,
His
okay,
face,
mother, okay, that's it. My decision is made. But Joaquin, you can see the rage. I thought, just a very subtle acting. I thought he did a good job there. Because I was like, yeah, okay, But so I think there is that. They've got their stuff, but when it comes down to it, like, you could talk about your mother, but nobody else can, kind of thing.
Right.
Almost, I thought.
Even him staying to try to convince him, after, Mark Wahlberg and the other guys kind of have a go at trying to convince him, and it just, they're brothers, so it turns heated. And so he's like, hey, let me talk to him. And he kicks everybody else out, just
Yeah.
the two of them. And he doesn't just, I don't know, just starting to think about this now, where Wahlberg stood over him,
Yeah.
kind of talking down to him.
Oh yeah.
Duvall scoots over. He sits next to him on his same level,
Yeah.
talking to him. Now, sure, he still gives him a hard time, and he can smell the weed or whatever.
Sure.
But
Yeah, but
and I completely missed him going over the pew and then him trying to.
yes, and I thought,
Steady
okay, I thought that was a very cool moment for showing that, okay, I just called you a piece of shit, but I don't want you to, but be, it's just, if you had talked about it, it would have been too on the nose.
Right. Well, even later, after we're kind of skipping ahead a little bit, when Joseph gets shot and the two uniform guys come and find Dad in the gym,
Yeah.
first thing Robert Duvall says is, which one of them is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's not what happened to Joseph. It's like he shows that he
Yes.
cares
Oh,
about
that's
both
true,
sons, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to me,
He
that
just knew
was,
something bad.
he was
but one of them-
expecting it to be the Joaquin Phoenix.
I would
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the catalyst. Is that
So
what
they
you,
know he's in danger and
Yeah.
playing in the dirt, and he refuses
yeah,
to
absolutely.
see it.
No, I would, it's almost a surprise it hadn't happened yet, but he's skirting that outside. So, I mean,
Well, I like, and you were going back to the Robert Duvall kind of hot and cold after that shooting scene. One of the cops is like, "Do you want us to get a counselor in here for?" I don't need that shit. Is what
Yeah.
Robert Duvall said. It's like, oh, okay, so that filled in more gap of Robert Duvall runs hot and cold because he's mentally unstable.
well, I
And his
mean,
sons are maybe just used to it. Oh, that's Dad talking shit.
sure. I thought it was because he takes it stoically, but then almost passes out. Like,
Right.
So he was,
Yeah,
he's
old
old school,
school.
straight up old school. He's, absolutely.
But I like that. Do you need a counselor? I don't need that shit. It's like, huh?
Yeah.
I think we all know some people like that.
Yeah, I'm a sensitive. It's what is it? Lethal Weapon. It's the 80s. I'm a sensitive man. I cried last night.
Oh, right.
Were you alone in bed? Why do you think I was crying?
Yeah, right.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, so is that what you have as the catalyst? They come to him and he refuses
Yeah. No. Wait. Yes.
as sort of the first call to action or whatever.
Yes, because there's a double bump.
Yeah, I was about to say I did want to jump on it too quick, but yes, I believe that as well.
And also, I guess what I really liked is he gets a catalyst because it's all about him picking sides, right?
Yes.
He gets a catalyst kind of moment from the other side too. So they come to him saying, "Hey, and want you to inform on Vadim."
Yeah.
Well, like one of the very next scenes is he's meeting with the boss, and the boss is Marat's talking about expanding operations, and we want you to run it.
Yes. Not
So he's-
Vadim. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got these these two paths that he clearly has to.
Well, his wife says, "And don't let your nephew screw it up or whatever."
Yeah, right. Yeah, this one's got ideas.
Yeah.
Nothing too that. Before we just move past it, at the party, for Duvall or whatever. It was for Joseph, not
Joseph,
for
yeah,
Duvall.
congratulations or something.
He leaves like as Joaquin Phoenix after they talk to him. He gets mad and
Yeah,
he
he's
gets his
gone.
girlfriend and
What's
he's,
the point
and
in
he's
hanging
walking
around?
out of there. And Joseph's up there talking, doing a speech, and he says, "Let's have a moment of silence for one of our brothers got shot last night." So they have a moment of silence. One, it shows Joaquin kissing his girlfriend again, ignoring that people are dying.
Yeah, it's
Right, he's on the
doesn't mean
stairs. Doesn't mean anything to him.
Yes.
The one thing I thought was kind of cool that I caught this time is the clock chimes as he's walking out the door. He's running out of time. To
Oh,
make
that's
that
awesome.
choice.
Yeah, I heard the
Yeah.
clock and I just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the way I took it. He's running out of time to make a choice,
Yeah. And
Before
cops are dying and he's living his best life, right? While it's happening and
why he's making fun of him,
right.
in the
No,
car. or whatever.
that's I didn't know about I heard the chimes and I just let it go. That's awesome. Now the debate, more or less, I think through conversation with Jumbo, Bobby learns the fate of those who cross Vadim, the nephew. He sees that the minions of Vadim would rather kill themselves than inform, because they arrest two of the guys.
Yeah, they come in, bust up the club,
Yeah,
and pour charcoal down his
yes,
his
and
mouth
the
or his
guy
nose.
that works for Vadim kills himself before he can even be.
Yeah, he said if you talk, we'll go after your mother.
Yes, and then he kills himself.
Yeah.
And now, I thought it was a violent scene. Sherry didn't like it. I guess when they're pouring charcoal, she didn't know what it was.
I didn't understand that scene.
Well, I guess it's some kind of test for whether you did drugs. I
No,
don't-
charcoal absorbs the chemicals in your body, makes you vomit.
Oh.
It's what they do to people who are overdosing,
Oh.
Narcan, charcoal. So yeah, it's just a
Okay.
neutralizer to all the
now
stuff.
that's
Because he's resisting. He's not so much under arrest, but he keeps who authorized this, and he's pushing and carrying on. So one of the cops makes a comment about he must be on something. Let's give him some
sure.
charcoal.
Now, as bad as that seems, look at it this way: his brother and the cops rough him up. But it's almost, I want to call it an act of love. Why? Because if they show him any special treatment at all right there,
Yep.
then the others, his people, are going to be like, wait a minute, So as bad as they treat him, it's almost and for his own protection.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he could see that yet because,
Right.
like you said, he's in denial and this kind of thing. But it's still, I think, an extension of love and protection of him, even when he can't see it yet.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we talk about it. He goes by his last name instead of Grzinski, his dad and brother's name. He goes by the mom's name, Green.
Green, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can pronounce it.
Okay, because
Yeah.
that confused me at the end.
yeah.
But that's also separation. Like he keeps it, it's a secret. Like, only Amada knows that his family is, a cop family.
Yes.
Nobody else, Jumbo, nobody else knows.
Right. So you can almost see him realizing that, because he's been asked to inform at this point, and he could see, okay, well, those who inform wind up bad.
Yeah, right.
So you can almost see him sort of mentally debating. I don't think debate is super strong, but I think there is some kicking around in his mind about this decision. Testing the waters. Hey, did you hear about that guy? Yeah, his head was cut off. So
Right.
So he's sort of speculating. Okay, well, these are the stakes. If I do this, and
Right.
at that point, I think he's still refusing. I think the double bump is a huge double bump. I have it as Joe being shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And I had not seen this for a long time, and I did not remember whether he had, at that point when I saw it this first time, whether he lived or died. I thought he was, at that point, I thought he was
Yeah,
dead.
he gets shot in the face. So
Yes,
it's
I thought, well, that's it.
pretty
Oh
rough.
my God,
Drop-
Joe is shot. Bobby learns that it is, and this is the scene I was referring to. Bobby learns that it is Vadim who is responsible, and that Vadim will now go after Bobby's father. And at this point, the debate is over, and that he accepts the call. Bobby goes to Michael. Michael is one of the cops, and says, "If I wanted to help, what would I have to do in this secret meeting? I'll call you." Another secret cap. So now he doesn't tell his other family that he's a cop, and he's not telling his real family that he's going to go undercover as a cop.
Right.
You know.
Right. There's also when he goes to see him in the hospital and Michael pulls him aside and the two of them have
Yeah.
a conversation. Michael makes a comment, it's a shame we didn't get to him sooner, like basically before Joseph could get shot. Get to
Yes.
Vadim sooner.
Yeah.
And then Joaquin goes, he's mad and he goes, "Are you blaming me for this?"
Yeah.
And he says, "No, but I'm not the only one with an opinion, the
Yeah,
only one
yeah.
that feels that way or
Sure.
whatever." So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no.
And the wife, of course, gives him, some really, mean looks when he goes in there to see his brother.
Yeah, because he
Oh,
had
yes.
said some nasty stuff right
Oh,
before
yes.
then.
Yeah.
He said some nasty stuff right before.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get that. Yeah, they got. Oh yeah,
What
they got in a
think
fight.
about my hot girlfriend when
You just that's
Yeah.
right. You and your Puerto Rican. Why don't you think about my Puerto Rican when you're fucking your fat wife, right?
that's just not even fat.
No,
I mean,
he's just fucking being
No,
a
no,
dick.
he's a being
Yeah,
asshole.
just being an asshole.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But that fight could have been a lot worse if Wahlberg hadn't watched where he was going to fall. Could have really hurt him. Could have really hurt himself.
It's
Now I got to go back and watch that scene, James, and look for it.
It's
funny.
noticeable for me.
Yeah, I didn't see it. That's funny. It's one of those things. Once you see it, oh shit, can't unsee it now.
well, another secret kept. Bobby's father's not informed. Bobby will wear a wire, and then I'm looking for the act break. As just a tongue in cheek, he calls the second act on the payphone. So when he goes down and he makes that call to set up the meeting. Whether that's the act break, he has made his decision. I think probably the act break, like if you're looking for a crossing of an actual threshold, he gets in the limo and is blind. I think I have blindfolded. He
Yeah.
rides into the second act.
Yeah, they put a hood over him.
Yeah.
But even like I love that whole scene of like once he breaks into two and commits to checking out their operations.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing's just super creepy and gives you this
yeah.
like as far as the stakes and the danger, like it's through the roof. Like the car pulls up and like just a door opens.
Yeah.
Like in this fucking shady dark street or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like they don't get out and say, "All right, man, you ready to do this?"
No.
Nothing. Just
Well, that Russian guy sits, where I'm taking you. I've never taken anyone.
right. And
no
you'll never
American-
see your girlfriend again.
Yeah.
But like, I guess they didn't get out of the car to greet him. Just he's
No.
door opens and you got to walk down there to get
Yeah,
in there.
so
And
that's-
immediately get a hood.
That's one of the things that I did not like.
Yeah.
Was that whole thing? It's like, okay, who is Joaquin Phoenix? He is just a club manager. What high drug dealer person is going to take you through their entire operation and let you know everything?
Well-
usually it's I say usually like I run drugs. It would.
Tell me more, James.
I would think
I
it
need
would
some
be
extra income.
compartmentalized. Of you run the club, we just tell you to shut your mouth and don't pay attention and you'll get paid. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to take you to my operation, show you how drugs are made, show you the creepy guy, because stuff like this can happen. It's an
Sure.
outsider comes in with a wire. It just made no sense to me. It's
Yeah,
not
but I
a
think
good,
interesting
not a
that
good
this
drug
is the
to
guy
use.
that cuts people's heads off and puts their dicks in
Yeah.
their mouths. I think he was confident that, all right, if this guy is
Well, he's plus
screwing
he's
us over, and then they call the cops Mickey Mouse at one point.
and it's been established he's kind of a screw up because don't let your nephew screw it up. This guy
yeah.
is not necessarily like if he actually had to market a product, he would probably fail. But because it's drugs that people have an addiction to, it doesn't take any brains to sell drugs, right? Because
Right.
people. So maybe you could almost. I see what James is saying because there is technically no need for it,
Right.
but.
Yeah, I mean, showing the facility and what they're doing and how creepy it is, and the dude with the one glass eye that was in the trailer and all the photos, but he's in it for half a second.
Yeah.
He looks up, he looks creepy. That was it.
Yeah.
I get it. It needed to be in the movie. I get it. The whole thing, and he runs and
Yeah.
everything that follows this afterwards. It just doesn't make any real world sense to me, and it pulled me out for half a second.
Yeah. Were you going to say something, Sherry?
Well, it's about when the cops come in. You're talking that the all the cop. I mean, his dad and everything doesn't know that he's doing this.
Yeah.
He has a wire or whatever. But do the other cops know?
I think
come in.
Michael's unit or Michael must have had some that because they were tailing him and he said, you say the word and we're there, you won't see us. But so there had to have been some.
But he jumps out the window like because he's afraid they're going to shoot him. So because he keeps saying, "I'm one of you" or whatever, "I'm with you." Or so that whole scene confused me.
Well, I think at that
me
point he
too.
was covered in blood. Certainly the
hitting
brains
this.
of that other Russian. He was wearing a mask. And in the fog of war,
Yeah.
you know.
People come in shooting, and then you got gunfire, you're deaf.
yeah.
So
That's
I
a
mean,
terrible way to go.
yeah, you're
So I
supposed
think-
to be part of the plan,
but there was
then,
nothing about him that would have made
There
him
is no
immediately
plan.
recognizable. Especially when all them bullets were flying.
And
well,
so
he
that-
had blood all over him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's right. So
That was the other thing was, here's a lighter. You say feather, we'll come get you. That was the plan.
yes.
That was it. Like, that's not a good plan. That's not a tactical plan or anything.
Well, I mean, I've seen that in other movies where there's a safe word and we come in or whatever.
yeah, but it's like, hey, there's safe word. How many guys are in there? How many guns are in there? What's in there? Oh, you have how many?
Yeah.
No. As soon as they come in, it was gunfire. Gunfire. It just,
Yeah. All right. Well,
I mean, but then I had to remind myself, this is 80s. It was a war zone.
yeah, I
This
think those
isn't-
cops go in with the mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to keep reminding myself that it's not that kind of movie, kid.
And I just think the whole thing went to shit because to your point about what skills this guy have, he's not skilled as
Yeah, he
an
asks one too
informant
many
either.
questions. He
Yeah.
asks, like but Michael
Because he
tells him
fucks it up. Yeah.
Michael tells him, "Don't be a hero. Don't engage in conversation." But Joaquin, desperate to get because he wants to at this point because of what has happened to Joe,
Right.
makes sure this
Yeah.
happens. And I
That's
think
a lot of stuff. It's not going to dry up on us,
Yeah, we're-
is it? And it just keeps asking questions.
yes,
and
and
That, and he gave him drugs to try, and
yeah, but I think if Joaquin had just shut his mouth and strolled
Might have
through
gone
there,
better, yeah.
But now I say fun and games. I have this as the sole fun and game. Do you have a series of fun and games? Because I think the only way I would lend any credence to that critic's review of being a little bit rickety is I think some of the beats they're all there, but I don't think they're enlarged or full. Like you have fun. I think you have a fun and game. I don't think you have a series of fun and games.
I think you're right. Yeah, because the break in is late, even.
Yes, I
right.
think
So
so.
but the movie itself is not overly long.
No,
right.
well, it's 2 hours,
It's
but-
2 hours.
Which is
but
not-
yeah.
I was never bored. Yeah.
But if the break in is late, then it cuts on your fun and games window, right? To get back on track, some of your beats have to be shorter, right? So,
Yes, and so
I agree with you. We don't get fun and games; we get fun and game.
Right, which is this meet. They meet, too much talk, one too many questions, wire is discovered, a bloodbath ensues. Now, I don't know who the stuntman was who did this fall.
ow.
When
Yeah.
Joaquin jumps out that window and he lands on his back on that fence.
Yeah,
I don't even know how you do that as a stunt
right. No, that makes
and
my
not
back hurt every
break
time.
your back.
Yeah, it makes my shit hurt every time.
And to me, it looked like it was almost a screw up and they just left it in. I don't know how you say, oh, yeah, this
Well,
Well, you don't want to ruin the take. Like, that
Right,
was
for
a,
sure. And if a stuntman gets hurt and you get it on film and it looks great, you do that man an honor and you put that in
Sure,
your
but
movie.
my God, how is he not paralyzed? First of all.
Maybe he is.
So
Went to the premiere with his little chair. you know?
So,
so the thing that happens right after that,
I mean, I flinched.
it was rough. But then Robert Duvall comes in, and this is one of the things that I didn't like. He comes in, where's my son?
this I thought was-
where's my son?
Yes.
My son.
Yeah, absolutely. This
James
was
is James there going, now you give a shit, Pop?
Well,
yes,
and
I'm
then
a person
you're
too, Bob.
yelling.
yeah, right. That to me, I was like, you are smarter than that, sir. You know, but
It had to happen because the writer needed to happen, right?
Yes,
So Vadim could
right.
hear it. Yeah.
yes, and I think they could have gotten away with them still doing it secretly and quietly, and Vadim just seeing it and putting it together. I don't.
Yeah, it could have been visual. He could have, well, he was already in the ambulance. So he could have like hugged him or something and, oh, that's fucking weird. Why is he hugging him? You know, but he was already in the ambulance. But
Yeah.
he could have been sitting in the back of the car. No, you're right. Yeah, he could have been sitting in the back of the car and seen Duvall get into the ambulance and grab his hand or some
Sure,
shit.
yes.
Yeah, to show it visually.
Even as the door's being closed, that
Yeah.
second, you know.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway,
Back
But-
to the fun and game though. James, did you? I guess you'd made a comment. I was gonna say it earlier about like it kind of pulled you out of the story. Just the way it's set up and kind of why it happens. Because why is Joaquin the guy? But man, the scene when he tells him to put on the mask and then he goes to that dark ass hallway and nods and it disappears. Like
Yes.
the lighting is so perfect in that scene.
Oh, yeah, he's in-
like every time I see it. I remember the first time I saw him, like I'm not going down that fucking hallway. Turn on some fucking lights.
yeah.
Right.
You know, so just I don't know. I just
Well,
really,
and I
really
thought
liked
it
it.
was very symbolic. Like this is like he's descending into darkness now.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure. And I understand that the story needs it and all that.
Sure.
I think there's a
It
lot
was
of
a
really
cool
cool
look.
shots in this movie. There's
Yes.
one earlier on when Eva Mendes is in the red dress coming down the hall just for the party,
Yeah.
and like you see the smoke going past her.
Oh, yeah, no.
shoulders are really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going down that fucking hallway.
Yeah, and see, but you have
I'm saying feather right then and there.
You're right.
you have cool shots like that, and then you have other scenes that just end in a fade to black.
Yeah.
Or guys going, I'm gonna fall over here. Okay,
And yeah, I was like, this movie, it was like bipolar. It was so weird.
it's only his third movie.
Yeah.
Who's?
James Gray.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's not a bad outing, but there are some. I think.
Where's my son? Yeah. So I didn't so much have a problem with that. And then y'all pointed out that no, that's flawed. Could have shown it visually.
Especially
Which is the
when he
rule, right?
shows,
Show us, don't tell us.
because he has shown that he's a man of restraint when he gets the news that Joe is shot. But here he's all emotional. So maybe that's to James's point about the hot and cold.
Yeah, but one son's in the hospital. Y'all just went behind my
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and did this, and I got another one's going in the fucking
Yeah,
hospital.
right.
Like he's
right.
pissed, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And then just another thing, I think it happens right after that. You have an exposition over the ambulance PA. It's like, oh, guys coming in, bruised ribs, broken leg. Blah,
That's
blah,
to y'all's point because that stunt guy is now paralyzed. That looks so bad, and we got to keep that in the film. We got to have some sort of
Right.
exposition about how he's not paralyzed. Don't worry, audience. Joaquin's still going to be
And that's
good
what I
for
was
the third act.
surprised about. It's like he jumps. Oh,
Possible-
that's it. He had a
yeah.
bruised rib and
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
broken
bruised
ankle.
rib.
No,
I think it's broken. I think she says broken ribs and
like he was
possible
twisted
leg
in half.
injury.
Yeah. I just can't imagine that shot. It just gives me chills because I mean, you've fallen on your back, or everybody is.
Well, the gate was actually made out of pool noodles, so it's okay.
That's what I was gonna say.
I would hope so.
Made out of polyurethane. Or
Oh my
polystyrene.
god.
Yes, no, it definitely is one of those, one of those stunts that makes you
It's a
makes you
breakaway
hurt.
chain.
Yeah, it makes you hurt.
It didn't look breakaway because it didn't
No,
give.
it sure didn't.
No, your
it has
bones
a
break
dent
away
in
when
it,
you hit
yeah.
it.
Full noodle for a spine. All right, so I have this as a midpoint false victory. Vadim is captured, held at Rikers, red-handed. There will be a trial.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Joseph gets out of the hospital.
Okay, yeah, and
So
just,
like a
And Josie,
false
and then the other two, Bobby and Amada, go into hiding,
yeah.
which they go into hiding, and then they're not in hiding anymore after that. Like he becomes a cop, and Amada just moves in with her mom. Like that happens a little bit later. But I'm like, where did this whole?
Oh, after Dad dies.
No,
Because
they
they're
were
moving.
they were in hiding before that because Dad
Yeah, because
dies.
it's supposed to be waiting a trial.
Yeah,
Yes.
But Vadim escapes, so there is no trial now at that point. Well, I mean, it had to be down the road, right? I guess is the
Yeah,
idea
but
because they
they're
got to
still-
get him back in custody to have the trial.
right. Vadim
He's not
is
just gonna
escaped,
show up.
so now that they go into hiding, that's even more paramount of security. And
Yeah, so they go to move them, and then that's when they get
Right.
attacked or whatever, right?
and then after Robert Duvall dies, are they still in secret custody, or
Well, I think Bobby has special knowledge and wants to. I don't think you could put him in hiding if you tried at that point.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's.
He wants to be a cop, and I think that's what, especially at the end when he walks.
But
into
where
field.
did that passion come from? I'm going to be a cop now. I've got special knowledge. Here's the cop test. The first time I've ever heard about
Well,
being a cop.
I think after his father died, so Vadim is captured. I have as the midpoint false victory.
That's what I have.
Immediately go into bad guys close in. Feigning chest pains, Vadim is taken to the hospital. En route, he escapes with a price on his head. Bobby and his girlfriend must be moved.
Yeah, he and Amada's relationship starts to deteriorate at this point as well.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is part of the bad guys close in. Because
Yeah. Yes.
like we talked about at the beginning, like his opening image, like she's the best part of his life.
Yes. And I was always looking for her to be the betrayer. Okay, well, she must be the but
Ooh, that would have been good.
right, but
That's
but
what I was expecting too.
right, but she genuinely loves him, and I think would have gone into hiding with him if he wouldn't have become a cop. She can't. That's the thing about cops.
I don't think so.
You don't think they would have stayed together?
No, she was already like she makes a comment about I feel like the walls are closing.
Sure.
Which is interesting. The walls were fucking closing in before. Y'all just didn't see it.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right,
So no,
sure.
I think she wants to live that oblivious life, and she doesn't want to, be on that wall. She wants to enjoy her freedom because like they're supposed to be in hiding. And to James's point, she goes and hangs out with her mom. She's in there joking, having a good
that's
time, tossing cucumbers to Jumbo.
Right,
Like
yeah.
completely oblivious to what's fucking going on in the stakes here.
That is,
And I feel for her at that point, but it's like
yeah.
you're messing this up. You're gonna get us killed, lady.
Well, that's
And he's mad at her, and then she just gets mad and walks past him. And
you're right.
you got to see your family. Why can't I see mine? Well,
Yes.
that's not the same thing, he says.
Right. So I have like the bad guys closed in, just basically that. And then the all is lost. I think we move very quickly into a false defeat with Bobby's father is shot and ultimately killed.
Yeah. And I like that car chase.
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
rain.
that car chase.
in the rain, really shot really well.
Yes,
like, really,
the
really cool.
idea. If you want to talk about an idea of value, okay, here's a car chase we've seen a million times, but it was very surreal, very chaotic. Like I as a viewer, I felt almost as disoriented as he must have felt behind that wheel.
Yeah, you see it almost from his point of view a lot because you don't see a lot of outside shots of the car swerving and doing shit.
Right.
I didn't feel like.
And I thought
Like
the
even when
shooting
there's
of-
an 18-wheeler in front of him at one point.
Yes.
And the way they do that, like you get how bad that is when he looks back and you see the car
Yes.
smash underneath it.
and the shooting
they
of
had
his,
to have been
of his
decapitated.
father is from a distance.
Yeah, but
through
you
the
see-
rain, through the window. Yeah.
But the way he reacts, whenever
yeah.
he's getting shot with a shotgun, yeah, it's good
So
stuff.
I thought take a cliche car chase. I thought they really put their own.
I think I read in the notes here that the director watched all the car chases in all the movies
Yeah.
and was like, what can we do different?
That's cool. That's
and
cool.
he said that he's never had a POV car chase, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
driver's point
Nice.
of view.
It felt like it was almost underwater.
yeah,
It was
Yeah, there was
well,
a shit ton of rain.
Dis-
they
Disorienting.
shot it on a sunny day, and all the water and rain was CGI.
Really?
Yes,
Really?
Now there a split second here and there. Maybe it looked a little, but I just chalked that up to how disorienting it was.
Looking at it with 2023 eyes back to 2007, I could definitely tell it kind of hurt my eyes following that whole thing.
It was
but
very surreal. Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like that before.
Right,
So
right.
good on him for doing
Now-
something new.
I want to say the French Connection had with Hackman and the car chase. I want to say some of that was POV as they're going through the underpasses because that's always. I think
Yeah.
it was French Connection.
Yeah, no, that's up there as far
I think
as car
I think he
chases.
had mentioned something like that.
Yeah.
French Connection.
Because I haven't seen Bullet, but there's supposed to be a good one in
Both
Bullet.
those are, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say that was the one scene that I did put my phone down
Yeah.
and I did watch, and things like that make me have nightmares.
Yes, you did.
I had bad dreams last night.
Damn it.
Yes,
I'm being
and,
chased.
and I did the same thing in the Bourne Identity. One time,
That's a good
one of the
one, yeah.
Bourne movies. I don't remember which Bourne
I think
movie
it was
it
the
was.
first one.
It was a motorcycle chase.
Oh, maybe. Because I think it's Born.
I
the
had
first one.
nightmares the whole the night after, and I had nightmares last night after
Yeah.
watching that.
Well, it's
and it-
disorienting.
and
then.
So any kind of does the movie have to? I guess I'm curious. Does the movie have to be have thriller elements to do it, or can
I don't know. It's
you
something
watch
about
like-
the chase.
You
like
watch
a
all that
Mission
ghost
Impossible.
stuff and never have a problem.
Mission
I
Impossible?
watched-
Does that bother you? Those
No,
kind of
Mission Impossible doesn't.
maybe it
bother
has
me.
to have more of an edge and kind of thriller.
I don't know.
to
It's
it? I
something
don't know.
about that whole chase where, like you said, you were talking about the truck when it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god!"
Well, she freaks out on the, not freaks out, but I don't hate riding with her, but she
Car accidents are big.
sure
thing
and
where you
and
worry
how
about
other
it.
drivers
Well,
drive.
but
Well, people
it's
are nuts,
someone
man. People
chasing-
cannot drive.
No, there's someone chasing him and he's shooting from the side and then he shoots his father. I think all of that.
No,
It led to me and
which is
having,
exactly the effect, you know.
I don't know. All I know is I had weird dreams last
It
night.
was an anxiety
No, absolutely.
inducing section.
And that means the
Way
Bourne.
to go, James Gray. You gave her nightmares.
Yeah, yes, you
And-
watch
and
watch
that Bourne movie.
stories about the demons and possessions and all this. Like when she first
Yeah.
started watching that ghost shit, like I would have nightmares about fucking ghosts and shit.
Well, what are the stats, man? You probably have a better chance of dying in a horrible, car accident than you do getting possessed by a ghost.
I would hope so. I guess I don't know.
I hope
The way
so.
you drive, I don't know.
All right, so all is lost.
Great. Now you get possessed by a ghost when you're behind the wheel.
Right.
Take the wheel, Jesus.
Yeah, no, we've gone off the rails, right? This is a car wreck here. All right. Bobby's father is shot and ultimately killed, and I'm having as the all is lost false defeat.
Yes, I have the same. One thing I did like is when, because Robert Duvall gets shot, but then he's like, pull over, Pop, pull over. Then he gets in a car crash and he stumbles out. And then Joaquin Phoenix runs over to him, and once he realizes his dad's dead, he collapses just like the dad did earlier on.
I thought that was
kinda
good. Dark Night of the Soul, I'm looking at the funeral. And again, it's the dig deep down is subtle, and I think Joaquin sells it, but he doesn't oversell it. The funeral, Bobby looks over and sees a couple of punk kids laughing at the death of the
Those
cop.
fucking kids, man.
Yeah, they're laughing, and you can tell Joaquin is like, yeah, there's two sides, man, and I need to get,
Right.
to the point where even when his girlfriend is talking about his dead father and doesn't even say anything offensive, but he goes off the handle. You don't talk about you don't
Right.
At that point he is.
Well, it's interesting. I just not thought about it, and I might be reading too much into it, but after the club, when they bust his club, he gets arrested, right? They put the stuff down his throat. His dad comes and talks to him about it.
Yeah.
They're separated by the bars.
Yes.
And then here at the funeral, those kids are on the other side of the fence laughing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Separated by barriers.
Yeah. That's good. Because he's laughing in the cell and he actually flips his old man off.
Right.
Yeah. That's
And
cool.
then walks all funny when he gets out. Makes me laugh.
The Dudley Do Right walk. The funeral. Okay, so this is the dig deep down. His father. The laughing at his father, and he sees them. I think at this point he's digging deep down, shouting at his girlfriend. This is where I'm sort of putting the break into three. I have to do this. I have to do this.
Yeah, because the whole thing's been about, because you were saying, where did that come from earlier? Like, to me, the whole thing was about picking a side. Well, picking a side is if he's going to pick the same side as his family and following the tradition, and he's got to become a cop. So he's filling out the exam or whatever. And he didn't even, and again, back to this, didn't even, she gets pissed because he didn't even, were you going to tell me about this? Yeah, I was. And then he
When?
walks away. Like, he has no answer on when he was going to talk to her.
Yeah, when she says, and
Did they have anything previously in this story that was like he went to the academy and flunked out?
no, I don't. I think
He tried to do something in the family, but
Well,
There's a line at the
Wasn't good
very
enough?
beginning when they're sitting in the car smoking the weed, and she's like, there's cops everywhere. He's like, oh, they're drunk anyways. And he's like, well, I could be a cop. And he starts messing around and freeze and I'm a Frisco and all that. Yeah, it's being dumb.
Wahlberg, Joe sort of hints at
Pop
their-
always said you were a good shot. Is that where you're going?
Sure, yeah, but this is sort of the reconciliation before the storming the castle. We're going to get to it in a second, I guess. But Joe and Bobby are sitting down talking, and Bobby says, "I should have listened to you. I never listened to you, or I should have listened to you, or whatever."
Right.
And Joe says, "Truth be told, I was always jealous of you. I always just did what Pop says, but you went and did your own thing. You were free, So
Right.
at that point, I think he did never want to become a cop. I don't think he ever went to the academy and flunked out. I think he early on was sort of the black sheep, and,
Right.
yeah. So the being a cop just kind of to me came out of nowhere.
Well,
other than the I could be a cop. Why couldn't
Well,
I be a cop?
I think
He's picking a side, though.
no, I think
That's
after
true.
the death of his, because Joe affected him, and I think his.
Yeah.
I mean, when in that rain, when he goes down, he's throwing up. I don't know if you could see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was wondering what all that. That's what I thought.
I thought it was lots of coke. He did a line
I did
before.
too. Like I literally
I thought he
thought,
threw
was
up.
this supposed to be another movie? Was it cut different? Is he just?
James was like, where's the scene where he
Overdosing?
snorted the line before the car chase?
He looked like he was overdosing. It
The
was
theme
weird.
is,
Did cut, yeah.
the theme is you can only pitch yourself so long before you to stay warm. I think this is a character who is waking up to his own naivete. That I
Agreed.
I should have listened to you. I've been naive.
Yeah.
I was turning a blind eye till I couldn't anymore. I turned a blind eye. When I'd look back, my dad was dead.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, but I would turn to a blind eye as well if the people telling me were like, "You suck,"
Sure,
F
sure.
you, you're
No,
a piece
that
of
is part
shit.
of
I
I'd be
think
like,
you're supposed to identify with them and be on board with them, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, does people start dying, right? And and as he gets exposed to it, like he becomes, I think he becomes awake and aware of the stakes as we do, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
to a point.
So what you're saying is Robert Duvall and
Wahlberg.
Marky Mark,
They are kind of dicks at the
they-
beginning.
They are revving at like we'll say 100 RPM,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
he is down in the 5 and 10
Yeah,
sure.
RPM because he's just living life.
It is-
So
it
they're
is-
coming at him really hard.
Yeah.
because they see it.
It is very
Yeah,
much the
okay.
story.
Because they're
Like,
frustrated because they're like, why can't you see this right in front of your fucking face? And he's
Gotcha.
I don't see that.
it is very much the parable of the prodigal son. The prodigal son parable is the son, with the good son did everything his dad said, but the prodigal son said, no, screw that. Give me my half of the fortune, Dad. I'm going to go out and live my own life. And he does, and spends all his fortune and winds up in a worse state than he ever had with his father because he lost all his money. Now he's like, basically at this point, we would liken it to what, you're a dishwasher or whatever menial, degrading job you're doing just to get by. And he comes to the conclusion, I could go back to be a hired hand at my dad's place and be better off than I am right now. I'm going to go home. And so the prodigal son returns, begging for just any job because any job would be better. And his dad accepts him in and says, no, here's your fortune back, blah, blah, blah. That's the parable of the prodigal son. And so
I think
there
they
is
call him that at the beginning too.
probably, yeah. If they didn't, it would be a miss. But yeah, so I don't know if it follows that strict a storyline, but it is the prodigal returning
Right.
into the fold. But to do that, he has to be open to, I should have listened to you line that he gives Joe,
Cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Anyway, so this breaking the 3, I have to do this. Bobby goes into his own room and shuts the door. I'm always looking for doors. I think when he shuts that door, that's essentially he has gone into the third act.
Yeah, and he's so after Dad dies, he I don't want to be alone, and he's crying on his brother's shoulders,
Yes.
right? Where before, like it's always been her.
Yes.
And
Goes
she
down on his
sits- and
knees
she
and
sits
hugs her.
there. Yeah, right. When he gets the news about Joe.
Yes.
Well, now that Dad's dead, I don't want to be alone, and they're hugging each other, and
Yeah.
she's sitting there. She gets mad and gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
Right. And then he's third act, but he's closing the door on her too.
Sure. Yes.
And then
At
later
that
on, when he's
point-
talking to his brother, they're like, "Hey, Amada's calling for you. I'll call her back." That shit never would have happened before.
No.
He's gonna stop everything he's doing. He was ignoring his job at the club to be with her. Now it's
Yeah.
I don't have time for.
Well,
a
he
fucking
ignored
phone call.
the phone call when Joe was shot as well. Oh, tell him I called
Yeah,
back.
she answered,
No,
you're
it's
right.
the police and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's ignoring the call, I guess you would say.
There you go. There you go.
The call back to his old life or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So storming, basically storming the castle, gathering the team, he becomes a provisional member of the police. So his team is now the New York City Police Department, reconciles with his brother, hits up Jumbo for information. Here's where he learns of Jumbo's betrayal. I'm saying he almost loses his surrogate father and brother in this scene because he learns that his boss is the one that put out the hit,
Right.
and that he owns Jumbo, and Jumbo betrayed him. So I think that's the reason he
Yeah, because Jumbo told him where they were staying.
Yes.
At the Q Motor
and
Hotel or whatever.
Now, in his defense, he says, I thought you'd be gone by then.
Right. I tried to give them the wrong information.
And I think that's probably true,
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, like I believed him.
but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Jumbo came across to me as kind of an idiot.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
With a name like Jumbo.
but a lovable idiot. Like, I think this guy loved Bobby,
I think Jumbo was a nickname for Lyndon Johnson.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to go
Well, that's-
sideways. There's a few people out there that know what I mean.
Okay.
He named a part of himself.
Okay. Really?
Yeah,
I wonder if that's what killed Kennedy. No, I'm
maybe.
hello. Anyway, so I think so as he's turning toward his new family, so both of his families are really suffering. Like, he's losing at this point. He's losing both sides of his family, Jumbo and his boss, to betrayal, and Joe has been shot and his father killed. So,
And Amada's left.
and Amada's left. So yeah, this is definitely
So he's lost his surrogate family, surrogate brother,
Yes.
real family, and
yes,
all. Wow. Yeah, Dark Knight, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And real girlfriend.
and yeah.
Real hot girlfriend. Wait.
Man, I tell you, and throughout this entire movie, I felt worse for her because she seemed like a good.
No, I
lady.
think she genuinely loved him and wanted.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. Yeah, his family is being dismantled in parallel to the damage to his real family. Storming the castle. The castle is going to be this drug deal, which I don't think they know where it's going down yet. And so they're wanting him to hit up Jumbo and his contacts to get information, and he does, and learns what Jumbo has done and what his boss has done. Jumbo tells Bobby that it was Bobby's boss that put his hit out on his father, loses his surrogate father and brother. Jumbo is unable to tell him details of where the castle is what I'm saying. And I guess I'm calling this the sort of Hightower surprise or whatever, because he learns of Jumbo and his boss's betrayal. Because I really couldn't pinpoint a stronger one or another one.
No, I think there's a different one.
Okay,
I think
all right.
so too.
Okay, good, because I could not get it. Execution of the new plan. Bobby digs deep down and recalls his boss's pattern of taking his kids horseback riding, surmises this is where the deal will go down. The raid. This is what I'm calling the new plan, and then we'll get to what hopefully you probably guys have nailed the Hightower surprise. Vadim escapes. I said they do the raid. Vadim escapes to the weeds. Bobby is unwilling to let his nemesis get away, enters the burning fields, and gets his man. Now, I thought this was interesting. He's given his father's gun, the pistol, to basically enact revenge on behalf of his father.
Yeah, because it's not sanctioned. Because they didn't give me a piece. I'll get you one.
Right.
Like it's
Yes, better to be judged by 12 than cared by.
by 6, which I like that line a lot.
Yeah. Bobby declines killing his old boss, having fully adopted what I'm calling his father's thematic code, not playing in the dirt, will not give in to the gratification. Now, see, where he would have gratified himself before, I think, he refuses the gratification of killing the man that killed his father and play in the dirt, is what I'm saying.
Right.
All right, so where do you guys put this Hightower surprise execution and all that kind of... Because I couldn't get it.
James, you going? I'm going.
Oh, I was just going to tell you what pissed me off about that whole thing. You go ahead.
All right.
I feel like this is right up there with Fred Claus for James.
I'm worried that it is. I think to me the Hightower surprise is because the breaking into is going and interrogating Jumbo, getting information, and
Breaking the 3.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
breaking into 3.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there and he comes up with the horse racing thing, right? And realizes, and they shoot that down at first, but all right, this guy's the insider, so they decide to go there, and that is in fact where the castle is.
Yes.
Right. So the Hightower surprise has to happen after they're storming the castle.
Yes,
right.
this is where I have my
I
problem.
think it's Joseph freezing.
I thought about
Then
that.
Joaquin has to step forward, right? Because he's kind of
the new
sitting
plan.
back.
That makes sense.
He's
That
kind of
is-
sitting
that is
back,
good,
being
yeah.
the guy or whatever. And then nobody, even Joseph, didn't realize that was going to happen. The dude next to him takes a headshot, and he just wigs out.
Yes, and
takes
that's straight up
takes a desk
PTSD.
job.
I mean that's. I mean, I had no problem with
This
that.
is 80s, so there wasn't anything like PTSD. I think they called it shell shock back then.
Sure,
Right.
yeah. No, I was on
Yeah,
board with
it
that.
didn't. Yeah, I don't think less of the character because of it.
No.
he got
No,
shot in the fucking face. Yeah,
No, that is good.
And then he picks up the shotgun and moves. Because later he gives back his father's revolver, says, "I don't need this."
Yeah, we're done here. He says we're not going to do. We're not going to play in the dirt
but
Right.
or piss ourselves.
he
to
does
stay
go
warm.
into the field to take out Vadim or whatever.
yeah, that's
Into the
part.
grass when it's smoking.
That's part that it made me mad because they're setting this field on fire.
They
with
say,
smoke
"Be
bombs.
patient. We got it surrounded," and he's like, "No."
Yeah, and then he's walking in. His eyes are burning. It's like, no, dude, you would be passed out and dead by now. But hey, cool. It made a cool little,
Right,
cool
they're-
looking battle.
Yeah,
Like,
I-
But these guys, can do like they do drugs and stuff, so they could handle the smoke, but the other guys can't.
Well, anybody who's ever been around a campfire camping, you just say, "I hate rabbits," and the smoke doesn't go in
It's a
your
shame
eyes.
we're
I
not
don't
filming this thing. It's a shame we're not filming this thing.
I mean, it would have
Your
been cool.
your face, James, when I said that, because obviously it's bullshit. I just wanted to see what kind of reaction I get.
I think
His
James
face,
is right.
James. He gets close to the mic. He's gonna say something, and just goes, "Nah."
No. Well, I think James is absolutely right. Now, was I willing to gloss over those because I enjoyed the movie?
Yeah,
Yes.
shoot that fucker. But yeah,
Yes, but James is absolutely right.
I remember that being way cooler. And then when I saw it this time, I was like, "All right, that's cool, but why did we not wait again?"
No,
Like,
it'd have been
yeah.
cool, like if it was an overcast day and the storm rolled in or something. And,
and
it was
the thunder
foggy.
sounds when he's walking out. I
Yeah,
thought,
that would have been cool. But like they set the field on fire. No, that's a death trap. You were walking into death, and I think
Sure.
that's what they were going for. That's cool. Again, it just didn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
that-
I'm like,
no,
just
I mean-
wait.
Well, all I kept saying was that's destruction of someone's property.
Yeah, She was worried about
Set
whose
shit on
property it
fire
was.
without running it by the fire department.
Yeah,
by
sure.
the
Do you have-
government
do you have
office.
Sherry, who gives a shit about glass?
Do you have permits for that fire, sir?
Yeah. It was somebody's cane field.
You know,
What
somewhere.
if the wind picks up and it blows back and then it destroys a building?
Yeah. What if there's a hobo encampment in there? You just killed 15 hobos.
Yeah, you know.
Dang, now I want to see that scene. Well, sir, these drug dealers, I mean, you can't ever predict what they do. They decided to set fire to the...
I mean, it's not that kind
100%
of.
Well,
blame it on
it
them.
doesn't show in my notes, but how much quantity of drugs were there?
It was. I can't remember the number of kilos or whatever.
I mean, but let's just say this: it wasn't a tanker ship full of drugs. It was
Right.
just like a normal, and there all this property, all this death over a small
Well,
amount of
they
drugs.
There was a lot of furs there, like,
Yeah,
and
but-
a lot of drugs came out of that one coat or
but
whatever.
just,
right?
Yeah.
just a little piece.
But then you had like Lethal Weapon 2, where he's got an entire
Sure, but this
boat
was
full of drugs
This was
or
the
whatever.
opening gamut to a long going operation. They were going to smuggle lots of drugs in those coats.
Yeah.
So they're shutting down an operation that potentially would have put billions on
yeah,
the
but
street.
I don't think you can hold somebody criminally liable for opportunity of how much drugs you could
Sure.
possibly
Well,
sell.
yeah, I mean,
You were selling a pound of weed, but you had the opportunity to sell 2
I think-
tons of weed. We're going to put you in jail for 2
I
tons.
got that he was doing the fur thing because they mentioned the furs earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
I got that he was doing that the whole time,
well,
right?
Yeah, I knew it. I was like, yeah, he's the big bad. He's running drugs. It's part of
Yeah.
the
So,
fur thing.
so your point about they're not arresting for what he's going to do; they were arresting for what he has done.
well,
What
they,
he's
but
currently-
they knew he was a
You have
heavy.
to prove it.
Yeah.
They knew he was a.
Well, all
they called,
throughout-
they called him the number one at the top of this drug chain. Or
But
whatever.
they were talking not the old man.
Yeah.
Every time the old man was brought
Oh,
up,
he's
no, we
clean.
looked into him. He's clean.
Clean, yeah.
Yeah, because they weren't looking at the kids and they weren't looking at the
Yeah,
the
used
coats,
kids.
the fur or
He
whatever.
used his grandchildren to
Couriers.
couriers. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was brought up. What?
That was to make him.
That was brought up 3 times. It was we looked into the old man. There's
Yeah.
nothing. He's clean. And then later in the second act, what about the old man? No, we looked at him. He's clean.
Yeah.
And then the third one, no, it was the old man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You told us he was clean. You guys are terrible cops.
They are Mickey Mouse, man. The bad guys had it
Yeah.
right.
No, they're. I think. I mean, I think James is right, but I enjoyed the movie. But you don't want to look too close.
Yeah.
That's why I guess the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, it was a good movie, and then I never thought about it again. You know.
I guess this is the rickety plot that they reference.
It
in
very
the
well could have been, and I think, but I enjoyed the movie. I mean,
same.
at some point you have to just let it go, but that's not what we do on this podcast. We're going to dismantle, and I think some movies we review we dismantle.
We don't care who we make look ridiculous.
That's right.
That's right.
Including
Not this-
ourselves.
Not that kind of podcast, kid.
Well, but I think there's a lot of movies that we get into and we find that they are screwed down tight. Like you know, this has some loose parts. I mean, is the car backfiring? Yeah, but it's getting us to our. I don't know.
And that's why I was saying, was this meant to be a different movie? Like,
Yeah.
was it reshot? Was it re-edited? Because I think I
Yeah.
read something that this was in Cannes Film Festival and
Yeah.
it was maybe a little bit longer. It's like maybe that was a
Yeah,
different.
It very well could have been a cut.
Maybe, yeah. We'll distribute this, but cut half an hour out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final image, valedictorian of his graduating class at the police academy. Now, this I thought was interesting. He's getting his picture for his cop ID, and the background is bright red, and he's in a blue shirt. Well, his opening image, he was in a bright red shirt that I'm guaranteeing matched the color of that background.
Sure.
Opening image, red shirt, closing image, red background, blue shirt, cop, So, I mean, the opening and closing images could not be more perfectly
Yeah.
paralleled as to
And I don't.
the growth of this character.
And I didn't. I mean, I caught that, but I didn't catch the color either. Like it's kind of. I guess what you're saying is like so. Red shirt, he's in it,
Yes.
and then it's behind him in the
Yeah.
end.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah. Yeah. It's behind him now. Yeah. That's perfect. The change this character has undergone.
And then
He has a brief flash. He thinks he sees Amada, and I think that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about earlier, James. Like he thinks he sees Amada, so it's definitely a sadder but wiser tale, right? Like he's
Yeah.
chosen his side, but yeah, being it's the I guess the right call because now he's got he's chosen a side and he's gonna committed to fighting this war on drugs, but it's damn sure not the fun life he was having at the beginning,
I
Yeah,
just
it
and then
probably won't be forever.
ever, yeah.
and then it's curious to see like
So yeah, you're definitely not like fuck yeah, he did the right thing. It's not
yeah.
Neo fighting the machines at the end. This uplifting ending. It's
you-
that's a fucking bummer.
To your rite of passage, though, like he's grown up. this is what it means to be.
But he's grown up into what his father
Sure.
wanted him to be. So chances are he's going to become disenfranchised with the police force. He's going to become an alcoholic. He's going
Well,
to see the 80s and the 90s and the crack epidemic happen. He's
Sure.
like, what did I trade my life in for?
Well, I think
I should have stayed with Eva Mendes.
could have had a hot Puerto Rican. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm gonna think
but
about that hot Puerto Rican when I'm screwing my fat fucking wife.
I think though
That was
that's
twice.
but that is I hate to even say this. That's part of being an adult.
hero.
Though. If you can look back on your life and have no regrets, God bless you, sir. Because part of life is being chipped away at till you die.
What do they say in the
Jesus.
Breakfast Club? Something similar to that is, I forget what they say.
When you grow up, your heart dies.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I think he's going to have
Life is being chipped away at you until you die.
Yes,
That's what
and
you just said.
yes, and I think
That's
that
some bleak shit, man.
well, I think it's unavoidable because you can't deny that forever
You know, you can't be fun all the time. Yeah, and fun
because
forever.
the price you're paying for all that freedom and fun is
Sure.
still a high price at some point.
Yeah,
How much
the memes have narrowed it down to adulting sucks. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
because James says he's going to witness all this stuff, as a cop. But if he
just wrote the
stayed
sequel.
if he stayed
With
in
you
that
still on the
lifestyle, sooner or later he would see the real toll that drugs are taking on people. He would see kids die in the street on drugs that he knows crossed his bar.
Right.
So if at least as you're a cop, you know that I stopped it for today. I didn't stop it for tomorrow, and there's more coming next week. And when I die, it's still going to happen. But for this one brief moment, I stopped this at this time. Is the only comfort he's probably going to get.
Sure.
But it's a comfort that he wouldn't have necessarily, pissing himself and trying to stay warm, kind of
Right.
thing.
So would the sequel be called "We Lease the Night"?
we leased the night. Yeah,
Yeah.
We finance the night.
Yeah. We. Yeah. That's.
We low monthly payment the night.
Yeah. The night is being repossessed from us. Oh my goodness.
just real quick, I was going to say a second ago about the just the rite of passage, right? So, just on the rite of passage, it says so. Number one, the three things it needs to have, right? Number one's a life problem.
Yeah.
Right. Well, his life problem is he's at odds with his family because he's on the wrong side of the law.
Yes.
Two, a wrong way to attack the mysterious problem, usually a diversion from confronting the pain.
Oh
and-
yeah. 100%.
Yeah, he's ignoring all that shit, right? And then a solution that involves acceptance
Oh
of a
yeah.
hard truth that the hero's been fighting,
Yep.
and the knowledge it's the hero that must change, not the world around him.
That's 100% rite of passage. Then probably the best. Yeah. I mean, that's solid. That's solid on every point.
Have we done any other rite of passage movies?
I thought we did. Well, Breakfast Club is, right?
I want to say
Yeah.
breakfast. I have to go back and look to see what we called it because it was it institutionalized though?
No, yeah, never mind. You're right. It's institutionalized.
Institutionalized. Yeah. They burn
we
it
have
down,
to-
commit suicide, or
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we may have to have you go into the files or whatever. And
I thought we did one, but I can't.
Well,
I can't think
okay,
of what it was.
If that website, the archives, I've broken it down to every genre,
genre,
and
cool.
put the movies in there. So this will go in rite of passage, but I don't know that we've done one
cool.
yet.
Maybe all by myself.
I thought we did, but maybe not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay. So yeah. Any other comments, thoughts? I think James is right on everything he said, and I think I ignored it, much like Joaquin
Thank you.
did. Much like Joaquin did to. So basically, I was pissing myself to keep warm watching this movie because I did ignore some of that stuff that James is saying, and it's true though. But not that kind of movie kid, however you want to say it.
Right.
But it might be the reason that I saw it the first time and was like, yeah, okay, and I didn't buy it. Like Joaquin, I love Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, well, if you were pissing yourself, I must have been playing in the dirt because
Yeah.
I bought this movie and I watched it several times.
Yeah.
And liked
I
it,
bought
and-
this movie as well. I didn't
Yeah.
pay full price for it.
No, we paid $4 at Movie Trader.
Yeah, I did too. We must have been there around the same
Yeah,
time.
right. Anyway. Okay, so any other thoughts?
It was like $5 on Amazon. I was like, I'm saving $1.
No, we paid $3.99, I think,
Yeah.
for Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I got.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on that before we get into Pass Consider?
Mm-mm.
All right, let's do Pass Consider Recommend. Okay, like I said, I saw this movie and I thought it was okay, and then I never thought about it again. And seeing it this time, I enjoyed it, but I think I'll probably go to give it a consider at this point. Definitely not a pass because Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is good. I think the movie is good. I think it's worth a watch. I think it does have problems and is problematic, and I think James nailed those, which in my mind sort of keeps it from being a straight recommend.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on it myself. Mostly with crime dramas. I don't spend much of my time watching crime dramas, and if I do, it's like The Godfather,
Sure.
and you can't get much better than that. Joaquin Phoenix is great. Eva Mendes is great. It just did miss the mark for me. I think there are better options out there. The Departed. Like, I think this movie was trying to be so many things, but
Yeah, I immediately thought of The Departed when I watched this. I was like, okay, what movie is this like? And it was like, oh yeah, The Departed. I'd have to go back and watch The Departed. I actually did buy that one though, so I think I was more impressed with that.
Actually, no, I own them both, but I've seen this more.
Yeah,
That's curious to me.
well, this was what, hour 57. If there was another cut of it, over 2 hours, but The Departed's
It's longer.
long, yeah.
But it's, again, that's another one of those examples of it's really good and it goes by anytime it's on, I watch it. But
Yeah.
this one just, I don't know, just didn't hit it for me. So I'd have to pass on it.
Yeah, it's a consider for me as well. Yeah, I mean, if you like Joaquin Phoenix, you like Eva Mendes, you like crime thrillers, then it's worth checking out. But yeah, I guess for the same points that you guys mentioned, as far as like why I can't give it a recommend.
Yeah.
It didn't hit all the beats and fire on all the cylinders. But yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoy it. I mean, I don't know. I guess I enjoy it. Like we kind of talked about, enjoying it more than it's maybe worth.
Yeah.
Than it deserves, I guess. But
I forgot to mention. So last night when I put this movie on, my girlfriend and her girls, they didn't want to watch this.
Yeah.
So I went into my bedroom to watch, and they stayed out in the living room and watched Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
Tom Cruise. It's a sing along thing. It's good.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't like musicals, and I enjoy it.
so
I haven't seen
the
it.
best part of this movie for me
Yeah.
was hearing "Living on a Prayer" and "Wanted Dead or Alive" while they're doing this serious drama scene.
Oh,
And
it's-
we had lined it up just so,
Yeah.
obviously accidentally, but when he's going undercover, it's playing "Wanted Dead or Alive" over my shoulder. And then when they're going into the weed field, it's like all these others. I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like playing
the best
Wizard,
part of this movie.
Wizard of Oz with the
Dark Side of the Moon.
Side of the Moon.
I
Yeah.
did that, and it does work.
That's awesome. Yeah. I need to do that somewhere.
Maybe that's why you thought it was the movie was supposed to be something else, because you had an alternative soundtrack going.
You don't know about
Because
this, Jerry?
He's pulling up
No.
to the drug house thing, and it's wanted. Dead
If you turn the sound down on Wizard of Oz, and as the credits start, you play Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, the music matches very uniquely as a soundtrack for Wizard of Oz in a very bizarre way.
And as soon as she walks out of the door into Technicolor, the song "Money" starts.
Yeah, it's
You hear the cash registers.
yeah. So it's supposed to be
And then there's scenes where they're talking, and then you hear him laugh, and then on the album he's laughing.
yeah. It's a known thing. We should try.
Well,
it.
they reached David Gilmour.
Yeah.
David Gilmour is a guitar player for Pink Floyd, and they go, "What's the deal with Dark Side of the Moon lining up
Yeah.
with Wizard of Oz?" He goes, I don't know. We wrote it to the sound of music."
yeah, that sounds like a
Perfect joke.
typical answer. All right, Sherry, you're on.
Okay, I'll pass.
Yeah,
I will say this. I really like Robert Duvall.
sure.
Yeah.
He's a national treasure.
Yes, well, and he's a Clemson fan.
Okay, well there you go. Okay,
So we can't be all bad.
No, that's not bad. Or a Dabo fan, I should say.
Yeah.
Dabo, the coach. I like Joaquin Phoenix in some things, but I realized watching this movie, and it's probably the mumbling that it hit me. I'm a bigger Donnie Wahlberg fan than I am a Mark Wahlberg.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I was
She loves
like,
Blue Bloods.
I love Blue Bloods, and
gotcha.
I'm a New Kids on the Block fan.
Yeah.
I've seen them in concert twice. So
Recently or back
no,
in the day?
years
Yeah,
ago.
when they were still new.
Well, no, but
they're-
they do.
The old guys on the block.
yeah.
My cousin just went to their concert last year, and I was like, I wish I'd gone with you. So yeah, it's a pass. But like I said, I couldn't understand what they were saying. I should have
Put the credit.
put the captions on. I had the nightmare. I just
well, the chase. Yeah.
See, if I went to a New Kids on the Block concert, I'm gonna have nightmares.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts or whatever? So what, we got 2 considers and 2 passes on this.
Yeah.
So
Not great.
not great, but I think I don't know how many movies Joaquin had done, but I mean I think his stock has only gone up in following years. I mean I think he's amazing.
Well, he was good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I mean, his performance was more impressive. I'm sorry to say it, because I thought I really liked Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah,
but I didn't like him in this.
yeah. I mean I like Wahlberg, but I don't know what his range is. I wouldn't.
It seemed to me like this movie, Mark Wahlberg was, I don't know, phoning in is not the right word. He's a professional. I'm sure he shows up on time and does his best work. But this one, like if you watch The Departed, that is him
Yeah.
full tilt. This one just didn't seem like
Yeah.
that. In the scene where he gets shot and he's in the hospital and he's all wrapped up, I don't even think that was Mark Wahlberg in the bed. Like that didn't
Might
look
not
like
have been.
him. It's like,
His face was all swollen.
yeah, was he? I don't even know if he was even on set during those times.
What?
I think he was gone.
It looked like him to me.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know. It was a 40-inch TV 15 feet away, so that's
Yeah.
how I watch it. I couldn't watch it on my big screen TV in the living room. They were watching Rock of Ages.
And I know I sound like a little old lady, but I promise you, any movie that starts out with that kind of scene turns me off
Yeah.
immediately.
I have the exact opposite.
no.
I know, and except for I will say the Bridesmaids has a funny scene that I keep forgetting that is the opening
Oh,
scene.
her and
Yeah.
John Hamm. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just that way.
No, that's
Well, it's definitely like a testosterone movie. Like it's a guy movie.
well. I
would
mean,
say.
it's straight up. The lifestyle, right?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, sex, drug, rock and roll. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, rock star. Like, if you had all money, fame, and power, I mean, there's a reason that Bill Clinton was able to get chicks, right? I mean, Joaquin is a good-looking guy, whatever. But if you're in that lifestyle, one of the perks is hot chicks, man. I'm sorry, it's just a fact.
Right.
You sure about that?
Well, I mean, I've seen pictures. I wouldn't know, but yeah, so it's a definite visual of the lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Whatever.
I mean,
Could have been better.
you're not going to show him living that lifestyle and he's sitting in the chair drinking brandy and reading a book or whatever,
No, it's just my opinion.
No, I hear you. Well,
Movie starts up. Sherry's like, "Oh, this is trash.
well, like
Where's my phone?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is."
I think I said, "Oh God."
there are certain levels of hot, and in this movie, she is definitely at the trashy hot level. There is a trashy hot that is pretty hot. Cheerleader hot is one of them. Trashy hot is another.
Right.
You put a 6 in a cheerleader dress, she's an 8. I'm sorry. Australian accent, you're a 5, you're an 8. Australian accent, +3 bumper right off the bat. Trashy hot, cheerleader hot, Australian hot. Probably cut this last part right out.
Please do.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, is that it? Are we done?
I think so.
Okay. All right, we are out. Yeah,
I just want to say that was the one scene that I did put my phone down
yeah.
and I did watch.
I think that the story's a little wonky. I think
But he is skating right up to the edge of the shark pool, and
I'm gonna culturally enrich you guys. I'm telling you.
that's a good woman.
So
I had a different reaction.
as the clock chimes as he's walking out the door, he's running out of time. But even like I love that whole scene of like once he
That's one of the things that I did not like.
yeah.
now I don't know who the stuntman was who did this fall.
Ow.
I think he becomes awake and aware of the stakes as we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not going down that fucking hallway.
Yeah, and see, but you have
I'm saying feather right then and there.
you're right.